Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
yeah, nice to see you.
Me too. It's
How
good
are
to
you?
finally meet in person.
It's taken long enough.
I love a coined phrase for
Right.
sure, but you've talked about legal hygiene,
Right.
which I love that term. It kind of draws you in and presents a mystery. So I want to know, what is legal hygiene?
We provide legal support on exits, right? And mergers and acquisitions exits. So a lot of our clients sell their business, right? And when you go through that process of due diligence, and you see deals fall apart because seller didn't have this done right or did this thing wrong, why not try to nip that earlier? The best way not to get cavities is to brush your teeth every day, right? So rather than trying to solve the cavity, we're trying to say, don't have the cavity at all, brush your teeth. That's legal hygiene. So whether that's, understanding your compliance issues with Amazon, because that's a big deal right now. Understanding your IP, where is your IP? Who created your IP? A lot of people go on Fiverr, click, clack, click, they get a bunch of stuff. You don't necessarily own it, and those things can become an issue. If you have a business and you're trying to build a brand and you're trying to create enterprise value, right? It's about not losing that value due to the fact that you failed to sort of do what a reasonable business owner should do. I say that because I think that's where we're moving to. I think we were saying earlier, Amazon's very much kind of the Wild West for a lot of, that's part of the global small business. But now the rules are changing. Amazon wants compliance. We've had clients come to us who've had products that they've sold for years, but suddenly Amazon's actually enforcing the compliance, right? And now they have to go get FDA certification, which is going to take at least a year, right?
Yeah.
And there's no way around it. That's legal. If you start working with people who understand this stuff ahead of time, get ready. You're not going to have these, disruption risks that I call them. That it's so hygiene is like the brushing of your teeth for your business, basically, and that's the legal version of that. And have everything in order, ready to go, especially if you're trying to build and sell your business, or you don't want to see the value that you've created lost.
Yeah, I just talked with Tomer Rabinovich, and he talks a lot about, build your business as if you were to sell it tomorrow, like today, like now.
Right. So I think that's really important. That's how you should look at it. I agree with Tomer 100%, because that's literally what we teach. It's that we're looking at from the perspective of we went through. So in 2021, we did about $250 million during the bubble for our clients. I'm talking about dollars that they put in their pockets. $250 million for a really small and scrappy law firm, right? We're not trying to be a big law firm. We serve a sort of an e-commerce niche, right? Given what we've seen, we're just a big proponent of clients coming to us early and start doing that homework now. Like no reason to have it, kind of rush and do it all at the end, and hopefully you can do just enough that the buyer is willing to let it go. But
yeah, and it could decrease your valuation.
It can decrease your value. It can change the risk profile. A lot of people realize it's not, when you sell your business, the reason why you need a lawyer, by the way, is it's not about the money that you're being paid. It's about the risk allocation, right? Now, here's one that I love: compliance with laws. You are compliant, so you have to rep and warrant to your buyer you're compliant with all laws. And
right. And again, back to, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
yet you're not wanting to perjure yourself on the contract.
Right. And so we have to negotiate, well, what does it mean to say I'm compliant with all laws? So we have to negotiate we're going to say to your actual knowledge, which implies that you actually would have to know, right? I love you, right? And then the buyer says no, because then it takes
They're like, well, you could say anything. Yeah.
Right. And the risk is on us. We have to know, right? So it's all a game. That's just one example of risk shifting. That's what the lawyers do on the deal, right? Whether you have a broker or not, figure out your price, but we're sitting here trying to say, okay, how do we stop these guys from clawing back your money, right? Or how do we give you a defensible position from having them claw back your money as much as possible? And so that's what we have to negotiate. And we find that when your stuff is sloppy, it's not organized, it's not curated, it's not cataloged, then it can affect your value. It gives your buyer a position to put unreasonable risk on you. Have your stuff together. And it's not hard to do. It's really not that hard to do preemptively.
So what would you say, there are some things that could probably be done by a seller before getting to the point of working with someone like yourself?
So I think sellers should always, I think anything you have created, you should ask questions, right? If you are using somebody on Fiverr and they're using stock photography, you need that license. Just make an index of every like, and take inventory of what you're using, right? Your intellectual property assets. Where did that come from, right?
And the right license, because there could be a license for reuse for certain purposes, but not commercial purposes.
So we've had to go, like, seriously, so that my clients weren't in breach of a rep, we've had to go through thousands of photo files sometimes off of like different stock photo sites, and then like just do like a spreadsheet, just cataloging each photo pattern and explaining them, this is not assignable. You will have to obtain your own license, and telling them that. And it's like, seems excessive, but it's a breach of a fundamental rep. And so
so those are things that a seller could go do and not pay.
Yes.
You
don't want to pay a lawyer to do that.
Right.
So that's right.
Yeah.
So that wasn't a small bill for that. Our paralegal, it took a lot. But yeah, you could do that. But so always just read your contracts, right? Make sure you're always having the full rights to the things that you're getting, and question your Fiverr people, and make sure that they're not outsourcing to somebody else, and that they actually can. So it's sort of like tracing your supply chain, trace your intellectual property chain, right? Like, it's like, trace it. I think that's something anyone can do.